like you went out on a little bit of a limb because you're saying that they presented some changes that they wanted to see, and you agreed to all of them. I can see some coaches, some old school coaches saying, "No, it's my way." And why did you, agree to those things that they presented?
One, when you're building a program, you have to set rules. You have to set standards of what you want. We've been doing that for 3 years, and the guys have been good. Going to class, always going to class and being on time and taking hats off when you're in the building, be the first to greet people. So they were holding up that end of the bargain. It was certain things that I felt once they presented them to me, I was like, oh, I could let that go. I don't necessarily need that, and one was not having headphones when you go out for pregame warm-ups and things like that. And that was something that, I could let that go. That's not that important. If it's important to you guys, I'm willing to make a sacrifice and say, you can have it.
Sure.
But give me maximum energy and effort. Oh, that's coming away. I'm taking that back. No headphones, you know what I mean? So that was the give and take of what they wanted to do. And I was willing. And, with this era of student athletes, it's different from my day.
Yeah.
When I was, coming up, if Coach Larranaga said anything, it was like, okay, let's do it. That was it. It wasn't no questioning what he said. That was how it went, and that's what you do. The new generation is more, they're a different generation. You have to deal with them differently. You got to handle them differently. I talk to each player differently. I don't talk to them the same way because, they can't handle that type of conversation. So every conversation I have is specific to a certain person in the way I talk. So I had to, with being a coach, you have to be able to adjust. And that's what I did. I adjusted to my team. And we've been successful with, when you got two stubborn people and they keep butting heads, something's going to give at some point. I'm going to win, yes, but I'm going to lose also. So it's like, all right, let's compromise. Let's come to a compromise. And that's not on everything. Certain things they know the discipline is, this is it. You better do it the right way. There's no negotiating that. If you're supposed to be in class at this time, you better be in class. If you're supposed to be here, you better be here. If you got a meeting with someone and, I found out that you were late to a meeting, you know what's coming.
Right.
So they know the consequences of their actions, and that part we don't deal with. And when I first got here, that's all we dealt with. That's basically, I spent my whole day disciplining guys, and they didn't do what? They didn't do this, they didn't do that. So the whole time, that's what I spent doing. And, as time went on, they see I'm not playing and I'm not letting up. And I say it, if you're not going to play, I'm suspending you for this. And it's like, what? You going to suspend me? I don't care. It doesn't matter. We have to do it. No one's bigger than the team, including myself. So we got to do it the right way. And once we got past that, and that, I can release so many different things, and that's what I did.
Sure. You mentioned Coach L, and that was going to be my next question is, what if you and Shane Klein-Raminsky and James Cerisier and Floyd Miller and the guys you played with came to him with a bunch of paper and said, hey, Coach, we want this stuff. How would that have been received by Coach Larranaga?
At that time, Coach Larranaga was still a young coach, young head coach at Division I level. He did things a certain way. It depends on what it was that we came to him with.
Right.
That was the first thing. And I think he would listen to us, but I don't know if he would change or adapt.
Yeah.
The Coach L of now, today, I worked for him for 8 years.
Right.
He will be able to adapt to the situation, and he will make it happen, whatever it was.
You're a kid back in New York, and Bowling Green is a school in the middle of a cornfield in Ohio. Can you take me back and making college choices? And Coach L's from the East Coast too. Was he the reason you came? What was the reason you came to Bowling Green?
The biggest reason when you're being recruited, I had a bunch of schools back then: Seton Hall, Providence, South Carolina, Temple. It was so many different schools, UMass, and you talk to different coaches, and it seemed like all the coaches were saying the same thing. Spoke to Coach Larranaga, who was basically the wild card out of the whole bunch. I didn't want to stay close to home, so schools that were further away had a better chance of me going to those schools. And I just remember having a conversation with Coach Larranaga and him saying to me, everything that you get at Bowling Green will be earned. Nothing will be given. And that was the first sign of kind of like truth. It seemed like, okay, this man might be telling me the truth. Then he was good friends with my high school coach, Steve Post, and my AAU coach. I played for Riverside Church. Once I came out and took a visit, it was more like, oh, I like this place. It's more of a campus feel, and it was different from the other schools that I visited. Going out to Temple, it's in the middle of Philadelphia, and at the time it wasn't a nice area. It was more like New York was back then to me. So right now it's beautiful. You go out to Temple now, it's a beautiful place, but back then it wasn't. And seeing that, it's like, oh, this looks just like New York. I don't want to go out here. And that was the difference. And once I came out and saw it, I knew this was the place for me.